this and that. And it's like, dude, there's free advertising on Facebook and Instagram. That's it. All you gotta do is post. You don't even, because you can pay for ads on there too, but you ain't gotta do that. Like, I've never paid for an ad.
No, bro. That's one of the things I always tell people. I said, man, once you pay for it, they keep you on there, man.
Yeah, the outlets that I have, Facebook, Instagram, now TikTok, Snapchat, fucking Twitch, YouTube, I've never paid for any ads. I'm like, I'm not paying for anything. As long as I stay consistent, you don't need to.
No, yeah, bro, and that's one of the things. Like, I mean, I get a lot of people and
yeah, dude, your channel, everything's grown. I look at your numbers. I'm like, holy shit.
No, yeah, bro, yeah, and like recently, like I've gotten a good boost, and I'm like, oh crap, like I'm like, okay, now what am I gonna talk about, man? Yeah. Like everybody's always like, man, you just keep throwing it out there, and that's kind of what I was telling you. I like the outlets because it's just something different to throw out there, and. People want to see. I mean, even if it's just bullshit, like I'll get on stream, I don't have anything to talk about, and then I'll just start bullshitting. Yeah. So who's on there? You're like, hey,
yeah,
what's going on, man?
Yeah. Like it's literally just talking to people. Like people just think it's watching people play video games, which some do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But like.
I didn't even check. Is this on your set, boss? I'm sorry.
The laptop.
Oh, on this one.
No, it's not. There, now it is.
I want to check your headset right quick, and we should be good, man. Let me double check. Click.
Stretch this bad boy out. Make it fit over my goofy ass hat. Oh yeah, we're good.
Sweet, man. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Spider here, the Fight Car Podcast, coming to you once again from downtown San Antonio. Being joined by another local here, Steven Martinez, my man, bro.
What's up, man?
Thank you, bro. I was gonna say I'm sorry I woke you up late, but you got kids, bro. So you're up early every day, right?
Yeah, my day starts at 7 a.m. the latest. The little one now, he's 1. Because my wife was pregnant last time I think I talked to you.
Oh, yeah.
She was still pregnant. So, yeah, we had the baby boy Sage, and he's here, and he's wild.
Man, and you know what? And the thing about it, too, because, the last time you were here, man, was actually before a few things, and I'm going to bring those up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, your kid's a year old, and now you're thinking, okay, of course, you guys love the kid. As your kid, you're like, hey, you know what? But it's just... That you kind of wake up and you're like, oh man, I got a kid.
yeah, I know. Me and my wife, we're like, because the joke was like, we're done having kids. We have my 2 daughters, and everyone's like, try again for a boy. I'm like, no, man, I'm happy with my princesses. Well, I'm done. I'm fucking done. And then quarantine happened. So
you're like,
between having drinks and there's nothing else to do. So it was a quarantine. Yeah, literally, like every other day, she's like, God, leave me alone. I'm like, come on, man, there's nothing else to do.
No, you see, and one of the things, because I have 2 girls also, man, and growing up, like my kids would always ask me, like, Dad, you don't want a boy? And I said, no, so you can dethrone me? I said, I don't think so, man.
I know, right?
I said, I'm going to be the old lion.
I always tell my wife, I go, when he's learning to walk, I'm going to shove him over every once in a while to let him know who's boss.
Chin check him. You're like,
be like, just so you know.
Yeah, man, you got to keep your dominance, right? Be like,
yeah.
But man, like I said earlier, bro, the last time you were here, you were actually getting ready to go return into the cage.
Yeah.
And of course, things didn't go your way, man.
Yeah.
But the process going into that, I wanted to talk about for a few reasons. And one of them, myself and Ernest Suarez, when we're here, we're always talking about guys that are coming back, and it's just like, okay, it's not the same. We're getting older, and it's just some people make it and some don't, man.
Yeah.
But for you, what was your mindset going into that?
So my mindset, so a few things happened leading up to that fight as well. So going back into it, like they gave me the opportunity. It was kind of short notice. It was like 5-6 weeks notice. I was like, well, whatever. I'm in pretty good shape right now. Like I'm good. The knowledge is all still there. Like of course I had to readjust workouts. I'm pushing 40. I'm 37, and I couldn't just jump into it like I could in my 20s and hit it hard. My recovery's not the same.
Yeah.
Well, 2 weeks out from the fight, I get sick. We all got COVID. Everybody had Dominion. All the black belts, all the head coaches.
Okay. Wow.
We were wiped out. So I pulled out of the fight initially, and because it was in Louisiana, small promotion. I think it was only their second show, DFC.
Yeah.
And I finally tested negative, and it was like 5 days out from the fight, and the promoter was hounding Coach Ray to please, let Steven fight, to get Steven to fight. And so Coach Ray called me, he was like, hey man, they're begging you to fight. And I go, well, why are they so hard up for me to fight? And the truth was, if I would have pulled out, the whole card is out. Bro. And I was like, shit, I was the last of 2 pro fights. So I got bumped up to co-main event.
Damn.
And I was COVID, I didn't feel deathly ill. But like the worst part was the fever first couple of days, and then I had body aches for like a week. Like it felt like I was in a car wreck. But I wasn't like deathly ill. I could still taste and smell pretty much everything and messed it up a little bit.
Right.
I just felt like I had a really bad flu, really bad, like flu like you never had. So, but I wasn't like I need to go to the hospital. But I dropped weight, and normally I walk around 175, 180, and I still haven't gained the weight back. It dropped me all the way down to 161, 163, and I'm still sitting there.
Damn.
And of course the fatigue lasted forever. Like I still get tired. Like I was just so. I pulled out and they kept bugging. So 5 days out, and I was like, you know what? Go back and tell them to pay me more money, and I'll go in there half speed, just to save the card. So then we filled out the rest of the card too. We took 5 AMIs with us because they didn't have enough AMI fights. So we're like, let's go, let's save this card. Of course, we didn't do well a lot. They were all short notice within 2 weeks. Oh, yeah. So we went in there. You know, I get to weigh-ins, and I didn't even have to cut weight. Like I was
gonna say, man, you just walked in.
Because I wanted to stay at 155. You know, cutting to 145 is just not gonna fly anymore. Like, even now at 160, I was like, dude, like back then in my 20s, it was hard.
Yeah.
To make 45, and you know, it's 2 days out from the fight, and I'm like, I'm just gonna drink some distilled water and limit my food for the next couple of days, and boom, I hit it on the money. Damn. Dude was real cool. You know, it was one of Johnny Bedford's guys.
That you fought?
Yeah, that I fought,
okay.
Yeah. Big, tall dude. Like, he was a tall, skinny dude, and I saw him out weighing. He's like, okay, he's a tall, skinny dude. He shouldn't blow up too much. Hell no.
Dude.
The next day, we walk in the cage, and I see this fucker, and I'm like, dude, he's at least 180. Like, he's big. I was like, oh, shit. So, you know, I didn't feel bad, you know. Honestly, after the, you know, I lost, I struck with him a little bit, but as soon as he grabbed a hold of me, he was heavy.
Yeah.
He just locked me down in a clinch and pushed me on the cage, and I was like, fuck, I'm stuck. Like, normally I could work my way out of the cage. It's one of the big things I worked on coming up in MMA, because I'm more of a striker than a ground guy. So if I can stay off my ass and stay off the cage, pin there, and stay open striking, I'm good. I'll do that all night. He dragged me to the ground and ended up choking me, of course. I wasn't upset. I told the dude, I was like, hey man, y'all help me pay rent. I told Johnny and that fighter, I was like, hey man, I appreciate y'all, you know, and they're like, yeah man, cool. So I didn't feel bad about it. It wasn't something that I regretted. It actually showed me, it's like, hey, I still got a few left in me. Like, you know, he tuned me up pretty good, and I didn't feel bad. Like, I wasn't rocked. He gave me a little cut on it.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I was like, damn, I still got it in me, and I came in half speed.
Yeah.
So the thing now is I really gotta, because I told myself I can't rush into another fight anymore. I'm not 28. But now I'm like, I really gotta, like, no, I'm not taking another fight, because I've had like 4 or 5 fight offers since then.
Damn.
But I haven't been training or in fight camp mode, nothing, just worrying about my students and everything and my other fighters.
Yeah.
So I just tell them, I turn them all down. I'm like, no man, like I don't want to take anything on a month's notice. So my mindset now after that is give me 3 months, man. Like, I know LFA's full schedule for the rest of the year, so if I want to jump on one of those, I just let them know, and then, you know, if I have, you know, 10 to 12 weeks to get ready, then I'm good. No,
definitely, man. You see, and that's one of the things, I mean, now, especially for example, like with the UFC, I mean, they pick up a lot of last minute fights, opportunities, because people do drop. But for something like that, then people are like, okay, yeah, you know, they get that opportunity to go in there, and if they lose, they still have like 2 or 3 fights, you know, depending on what the contract states. But yeah, I mean, for the smaller regional, yeah, you know,
I have no delusions, man. Like, I'm not gonna make it to Bellator. You know, UFC, I just still like competing, and I know I can do it at least at a low level. I don't have any, you know, delusions about like, oh, I'm gonna be this big UFC superstar. Like, I'm not dumb. I'm almost 40. That fight, dude, that was my first cage fight in 6 years.
Yeah. No, yeah. I know you hadn't fought since the last time was here in San Antonio, right before that.
Yeah, that was at 210 Capone's, when it was still 210 Capone's, before it was, what is it now, Vibes?
I think so. I know
right across from the old spaghetti warehouse
or something, man. And
it was funny. That fight, it was within a month of that murder. Yeah. Like, you walk in and there's like memorial pictures of him there, and I felt all bummed out, and I was like, my first thought was like, oh, well, am I still gonna have my fight, or can I stop cutting weight?
Like, no kidding, man. Yeah, because that happened, and I was like, oh damn. I mean, I had met the guy too, and it was just. It sucked, dude, but I mean, that's like one of the things with clubs, or just, you know, I mean, anywhere, man. I mean, these days you don't even know, man. People are.
Yeah, dude. Well, like I said, I've bartended on and off for the past 12 years, so I've seen it, dude. I've had knives pulled on me, guns, dudes trying to steal my tip jar. I had to jump over the bar.
I remember the last time you told me about that, man. You had to run
behind grams. Yeah.
But hey, man, that's your money, bro. That's your rent money, bro. Yeah, especially with kids. Now you're like, hey, man, you know what? Now you're stealing from my kids.
Yeah.
But, man, I mean, well, let me ask you this. After that last fight, I mean, can we see you in the cage again this year?
That's the plan.
Okay.
That's definitely the plan. As far as how soon, I don't know. I'm probably shooting more towards the last quarter of the year.
Okay, because I know, what was it, like 3 weeks ago, a few of your teammates, or maybe your students, man, they actually competed for LFA.
Yeah, so who went out there? Oh, yeah, Steve, he went out there. It didn't go his way. Who else fought on that card? Oh, Taylor. They went out there. You know, it's just lessons to be learned. It was Steve's first pro fight. Just things to go back and work on. Taylor, he actually ended up moving right after that. It was crazy. Like
I was gonna ask you about that, man. They said he was moving that weekend, and I'm like,
yeah, they told like I didn't even know until the week of the fight. They go, hey, you know, he's headed back to San Antonio. I go, didn't he just weigh in? They go, yeah, and they go, yeah, but he's moving to England. I was like, oh shit. I go, that's wild. I don't know if I would have taken that fight with that big a move.
I didn't even know he was moving to England.
Yeah, his wife's, because he's former military, I think his wife's still active and she's getting PCS out there. Wow, so he's going to be there for 3 years, maybe forever, who knows.
Damn, yeah.
He's a good guy, but yeah, I just caught me off guard. I was like, oh shit. Like,
see, the guy he fought was a big dude, man. Yeah. Like, I don't know, you know, I mean, of course they take him, but it's just like.
I looked him up, you know, closer to the fight because I wasn't going to be cornering him, so I just helped him out when I could. And then I go, who's his opponent? They gave me his name, and I can't remember the cat's name, but I Googled him. I was like, Jesus Christ, this dude's freaking huge. Yeah, and Taylor's had some pro experience. I think he's got like 2 pro fights under his belt. Yeah. Aside from that one.
No, yeah, because I saw it and I was like, man, and that's one of the things. And let me ask you, man, because in the heavyweight division, there's a big gap between, you know, when it goes down to like light heavyweight, and then to, you know.
Yeah, it's 206 to 265. That's 60 pounds.
Bro, yeah. You see, and I think that there was a promotion I saw on the UFC Fight Pass, man, and I want to say it was CFFC.
Okay.
But they had stated that I don't know if they said they were going to start or they already started a weight class at 225.
I think that's a great idea.
You know, and I was just like, you know what, man, that's pretty.
And I've heard people talk about that, and I've always been a fan of the idea of having a heavyweight and a super heavyweight. Yeah. And then so I would say, you know, from 206 to 225, 230, make that heavyweight. Yeah. And then anything above that to 265, super heavyweight. And anything above that, ultra heavyweight. Because you know there's some 300-pound dudes out there that can still rock it.
Well, even the guys that dropped from 300.
Yeah.
You know, they dropped to
Brock was close to 280 something, 290, and he would have to cut to 265.
Yeah, that's when he would make weight, because sometimes I think he felt like one of the weight.
I was like, Jesus, what,
bro. But
how big was he that he failed heavyweight?
I know. Man, but you know what, though? And that's one of the things, like, with Aaron Suarez, once again, man, his ear's probably going to be ringing. Yeah. No, but, I mean, we talk a lot about that weight class, and you know, he's mostly like, oh, well, is there enough fighters or enough? And I'm like, there is, because there's a lot of guys that are cutting down to 265.
I want to say at least in Texas there are some big boys here.
Well, you see, even recently, man, like the card in Titan FC from Florida, they've been having a lot of heavyweights, and a lot of them, it's always like, oh, weighing in at 260, you know, right at the limit. And I'm like, okay, these guys are coming in heavy, bro. And, you know, so because of that, I'm like, you know what, man, I mean, if they were to let themselves go like Tim Silva, man, like he blew up after he just didn't give a shit, then that's kind of, you know, it goes back to the old slobber knocker, big guys going in there. But I mean, if they're going in with technique, like Overeem going in with striking, or Lesnar going in with his grappling, like that would be exciting, man.
I think that would be good, especially when you get guys that are as in shape as Alistair or Brock. And you see that, it's exciting. Like,
and
just to see
cut
these two gorillas, dude, just trying to rip each other's heads off.
They probably have to reinforce the cage, but still. Man,
you know, that's a lot of dude in there.
Man. I know there was an event. I think it was this past weekend, and it was an extreme fight night, XFN, and they had heavyweight, and it was kickboxing, right? And the whole night, like, they had big guys going in there, man, and like the fight that would happen afterwards, the guys would be slipping and sliding, bro, and everybody's like, hey, they're slipping, and I'm like, dude, well, these big guys were sweating, like they were, you know, I mean, they were working, they were, a lot of them went the full distance, full 3 rounds, and like the whole card was like that, and the wrestlers would try to shoot in, they slipped, and there was like literally like a slip and slide, man, like old school, you know. And I was just like, damn, dude, like it must suck, because I mean, being in competition, especially like for yourself, you're a striker. If you're out there and you can't even hold your stance because you're slipping, that's gonna throw your game off.
Oh, that's the thing about no-gi, man. I always tell guys, because it took years for Ray to get me back in a gi, because I was always in fight camp, so like I'd walk in, like, hey, you're gonna fight in 3 weeks. I'm like, well, I don't know fucking do this. Take it right off. But I tell guys, like, a lot of the students who do no gi, and I go, you should do gi. And I go, you really should, because it makes you more technical. I go, because in no gi, you can explode out of a lot of stuff. Once you get sweaty, boom, pop right out. And no, and gi, you can't do that. They're gonna hold on to you, and you're gonna get tired. You're gonna have to figure out an escape. You can't just yank it out.
No, that's true, man. And there's a lot of pros and cons. I know, for example, like you said earlier, man. Just right now, if you're MMA or if you're not training for it, jiu-jitsu, then yeah, it makes sense. Go ahead and start training no gi and just kind of go so you can get used to it, because of course, you're in the cage, you're not gonna have anything to hold on to.
Don't have that luxury.
Yeah. You're like, where's your collar, man? Yeah. But bro, let me ask you, as far as you're fighting, I mean, you're teaching. I had asked you earlier as far as, because you are a personal trainer.
Yeah. I'm doing lately. I haven't, just because of schedule, and then honestly, inflation. Like I'm readjusting my prices. Like no more homie hookups, none of that. It's gotta be like, hey man, like everybody's paying this. Because I'll go to my clients' houses. Like we don't have to be at the gym. We don't have to be at my place. I can go to a park. I have kettlebells. I have Thai pads. Like doesn't have to. I'm mobile.
So that's cool. You see, and I'm gonna go back into that, but real quick, when it comes to something like that, because I used to work. I mean, I used to work out at one point, right? Centuries ago, man. But when I worked at Academy Sports, I worked with that company on and off for years, man. And I loved working in the team sports department because I knew my product. I knew what I would do and what worked and what didn't. So I would have customers and, oh man, I'm looking at buying this, and I'm looking, big old machines, and I'm like, well, what are you trying to do? Oh man, well, my kid's playing basketball. And I'm like, well, you know what? Let me show you this medicine ball, and and I will go over drills, and I will tell him, like, man, I mean, the weight bench, it's only gonna bulk him up. Like, I mean, he needs speed, he needs that muscle, and so I will kind of like educate him enough to where they were like, oh wow, okay, yeah, man. Well, what do you recommend? And I say, you know what? And I will get cones, and I will say just drills, man, leg drills, and I knew some stuff. I wasn't like personal trainer per se, but I mean, I knew a lot of this stuff, man, and so. I liked it. So, I mean, what you're saying right now, when you get your clients, you don't need a lot. You don't need to bring a whole home gym. It's just like, hey, you know what, medicine ball, some bands, and boom, let's go.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, when it comes to your clients, man, I mean, when you were doing personal training, like, how long were your sessions?
I did, depending on what we're working on, I try to make them at least 45 minutes. Oh, and then depending on what we're working on, it could, whether they're doing strength and conditioning, if they're doing boxing, if they're doing Muay Thai, if they want to do MMA, maybe a little bit of grappling. It depends on what we're working on. Sweet. And I was never that dickhead that would be like, oh, we're over an hour, you got to pay me more. No, it's per session. The session could be an hour. If we're doing some hard cardio or something like that, it's 45 minutes to an hour. No, you don't need any more than that. At 30 minutes, they're usually tapping out. No. Like, I'm done. All right.
And let me ask you, because was it usually like a one-on-one?
Yeah, one-on-one. I did do a few small group sessions, usually for like when I was at CKO, like it's a lot of ladies over there, so they'd be like, can we get some personal ones, like just like 3 or 4, so we can get more attention, because the classes would get big. There'd be 20, 30 people in there, and I'm just barking out orders over the headset. And they're like, can we get, we want to sharpen up the way we hit the bag, because it's cardio kickboxing. They're not learning how to fight. We're just trying to get the heart rate up and get them moving. And I did a few of those. I actually did a women's self-defense seminar for my old boss from there.
Oh, nice.
She had a buddy that he owns a real estate office, and a lot of ladies, so they wanted some self-defense. And I said, yeah. So I took them to Dominion real early in the morning before anybody was there. It was like 5 of them. My wife went and helped me out. I take her because she's little. She's 4'11". Yeah. So I'm like, look, this will work no matter how small you are. I'm going to show you right now. So. No,
but I mean, that's true though, man, because it goes to show, for example, I mean, when it comes to self-defense, I mean, what would you say for a woman, of course, I mean, when they're out there, and I'll go back into it, but when I'm out there and I see, like, say I'm in my vehicle and I see a woman go in their car, like, I'll wait, like, I'll watch just to make sure.
Remember you told me that story.
And so it helps, but I mean, for a woman that's out there, and of course, I mean, what would you say for them to do, like, to be able to defend themselves? I mean, keep themselves safe from danger, man.
First, 2 things I always tell them. I go, be aware, like, just, don't, and I'm guilty of it, just fucking around on your phone, pulling shit out of your pockets on the way to, no, have all that ready.
Yeah.
Like,
bro.
Number 2, fight dirty. Go for the soft spots. I go, there's no refs out here. I go, so if that somebody approaches you, kick him right in the dick, you gouge his eyes out, you squeeze his trachea, I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
You fight dirty.
Depends on it, man.
Yeah, if, you're trying to go home. Yeah. You're not trying to win a fight. So, if there's a bottle near you, smash it and then stick it in his free, like, you have to really consider the fact that this person's really, because you don't know what their intentions are.
Right.
You don't know if they're just trying to rob you. You don't know if they're trying to rape you. You don't know if they're just they're all yacked up on meth or something. They're just trying to assault you, or if they're trying to full on kill you. You don't know. Right. So you have to assume that they're a serious threat. You have to assume they're the worst, and that doesn't mean to walk around paranoid, but being aware takes care of a lot of that. Like, be aware of your surroundings. You see someone skulking around the parking lot. Like, I used to work at HEB. There would be sometimes it'd be at night, someone come in by themselves. shop for groceries, and they didn't need help in the car. They just wanted somebody to walk them out.
Right.
So they would, hey, Steven, go walk. Okay, I got it. You know, at the bar that I was at, because I was at Fast Eddie's up until this past September, it was funny, and you know, right next to Dominion.
Yeah.
That one. My GM at the time, she was there, so there was usually 2 closing bartenders with her. And anytime I was there, she made sure I stayed, because one bartender has to stay while she does all the money and count it all down. So she would always make me stay. So if I was working that night and she was closing, I'm like, I know I'm gonna stay late.
Right,
I was like, I'm not getting home till 4 in the morning, so I gotta count the money. But yeah, so she's not by herself.
Right.
Know, so.
No, yeah, man, and that's it makes sense. I mean, I've worked in restaurants. I mean, the same thing after late at night and women are leaving, and it's like, hey, we just walk into the car, come back, and but yeah, man. I mean, definitely, if you're out there for those watching, I mean, be safe, man. I mean, I know there's been a lot of thefts lately in pure daylight, bro. Like it's been going on to where people are still stealing Cadillac converters, bro. And I'm just like, they're getting ballsy, dude. Like
it happened to one of my students, and then they tried to sell it back to him.
Oh crap, dude.
He got his CAD converter stolen, and then within a week, someone gives him a call because he was looking for a catalytic converter. Like within a week, and they're like, "Hey man, I know you got your catalytic converter taken, but I got one here for you." And he's like, "Motherfucker, how'd you know I got it taken? You just know I'm looking for one." And it was somewhere just outside of town, and he's like, "Don't tell me where you're at, because there's no telling what I'm gonna do when I get there."
No
and
kidding,
he has a
man.
big, nice truck. It's some big ass F-350.
Damn.
Dude's got money.
No, yeah, you see, but I mean, even then, that's an inconvenience, bro. Like, I mean, I would hate to wake up and get ready for work, and it's like, okay, car ain't going nowhere, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, there's been a rash of that kind of stuff, dude. It's just been weird, man. Like even to me and my wife, like we moved, so we're not in a different property, just a bigger unit.
Right.
It's a crazy story why we had to move, but we get into this townhome, which is a bigger space. It turned out, to be good for us because we had to move. But I was at work, and my wife's bringing shit in from the other apartment because he's just driving back and forth between the apartments. And it's a townhome, so we actually have like a little backyard area, and there's like a little service alleyway back there, like like the old houses, like on the other side they have those, between the houses, like front and back they have service.
Yeah.
She has that. So she goes, these 2 random assholes. They looked, they didn't look right. Like they're on bikes and they go crashing into the fence of our backyard, trying to get back there because the fence is tipped because they're redoing it.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get back there. My wife's like, "Hi." And they're like all sketchy. They look pretty tweaked out. And then it's her by herself with my kids. I'm like, shit, man. I was like, honey, we need a dog or something.
No, yeah, man. Because I mean, like you said earlier, man, they're on drugs. Dude, like you don't know, and it's unfortunate, man. Like I'm all over the city delivering, furniture, and I'm doing, I'm working. But it's just like when I'm out there, I see these people, and I'm just like, damn.
Feel bad for them.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that they're in that position, but it's just. They're unstable. Like you don't know. People are asking for change. I'm like, you know what? Dude, even as a man, I roll up my window some because I'm just like, man. At least if they attack me, at least I have enough few seconds to.
There's been a lot of instances too lately of people like asking for money or food or something, and they got a homie waiting around the corner. And as soon as you're out there, boom, they rob you.
Oh yeah, man. Dude. You see, and that's got to be one of the worst lines for them. Is well, you got money. Well, you dig in your pocket. They see everything you got, and they're like, okay, well. They either attack you right there and then, or they follow you somewhere, man.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. If I'm in traffic and see somebody, they walk between the cars or signs. If I got change on me, I'm like, here, man, just take it. I'm in my car.
Right. No, yeah. I mean, I'm guilty of that too, man. It
does suck, but it gives you pause. Like, it's like, do I really want to fucking especially when they approach you and you're walking to your car, something like.
Oh yeah. I
mean, I'm immediately on guard. Someone approaches me that I don't,
Yeah, bro,
I get a little. Sketchy.
I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, man. I was at the light, and this guy's on my right side. So right off the bat, I'm like, okay, well, he's not gonna ask me because they usually go to the driver's side.
Yeah.
So I see him, and I kind of glance over, and he's kind of waving at me, and I'm like, what? And so he goes, and he's starting to open my passenger door, and I'm like, nah, dog, like, hey, bro, like, I was like, dude, you don't do that, man. And he kind of, oh, no, and I said, nah, bro. I said, hey,
fuck off.
Yeah, get out of here, man. Like, I was just like, But it threw me off because normally I always leave that door unlocked. And so I was just like, okay,
you don't expect someone to open your door in traffic.
Yeah, exactly, bro. So I said, I got to start, locking that sucker up. But I was just like, kind of caught me off guard. I was like,
I had a dude, because I bartended at a Blue Star Brewery downtown. Actually, not far from here.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's down the street.
Yeah, down the road for a little while. A few years ago when I was leaving work, some dude, and I'm sitting in my car, and again, I'm guilty. I'm on my phone before I take off, right? I'm just doing something real quick, texting my wife, whatever, I can't remember. Dude walks up, knocks on my window, and I roll it down a little bit, and he goes, "Hey man, you got a cigarette?" And I'm like, "No, you got a light?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I happen to have a lighter." So I give it to him, and he uses it, and he's like, "Thanks, man." He hands it back. He's like, "Hey, can you give me a ride?" I'm like, "No." I go, "Get the fuck out of here!" And he's like, "Why not?" And I go, "Because I'm not gonna give you a fucking ride. Get out of it."
Yeah.
He kind of eyeballs me. I'm like, "Oh, this dude wanted to rob me."
Yeah.
Like he eyeballs me, like kind of mad, and I'm like, "Bro, if you don't get the fuck away from my car, I'm gonna hit you with it."
Yeah. No, yeah. You have to be like that, bro. Because I mean, once they start getting aggressive, man, it's like, nah, bro. Like,
yeah, like he straight up said, "Why not?" And I was like, "Dude, are you serious? Like, were we gonna do this?
So are we dating? Are
yeah.
What's going on here?
It's like I threw my wife out of the car, but get out of here.
No, but you see, and that's crazy because I always tell people this, and even my kids, bro. I always tell them, like, a lot of times you have to talk to people like that because that's the only language they understand. Like, if they get aggressive, you kind of like. You show some kind of fear, like they know, okay, I got them, and
it's like a dog. You start to turn your back or timid away from them, they're gonna keep coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to tell my daughter, my oldest daughter, she's 15 now. She's got a little boyfriend. I say little, this kid's huge. He's bigger than me. He's a nice kid though. But they go like if they go to the movie or something like that, and I tell them, I go, "Hey man, y'all need to be aware of what you're doing, aware of the people around you. Even if you're with a group of friends, like doesn't matter. Y'all are young."
Yeah,
and here's the thing. I go, you don't know if someone's gonna fuck with you. I go, so you have to be aware of your surroundings. You need to be able to know where you're going and all that shit. It's just it worries me. You know what I mean? Like I try and give her freedom. To a certain extent. Because she's a teenager now. She's growing up, and it worries me when she goes. And normally, like I only let her like. She's like, "Oh well, his name is Josh," and she goes, "Josh's parents are gonna take us out to dinner. Is it okay if I go?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're with his parents. I don't care."
Yeah. Yeah. But when it's just them two, you're
like let's go to the movies, or they're going to some birthday party at like some restaurant or something, and I'm like, it's just them. Like, oh god.
You see, and it's, I mean, it's not funny, but it's just like people posted on Facebook, man, and they said, man, back in the day, my parents really used to drop me off at the mall and pick me up at 5,
Yeah.
And it's like I'm like, yeah, bro, like my kids, man, I always kept them close. I mean, when we go to the mall, like we go. Few times they were like, "Dad, I'm gonna go to the movies," with her boyfriend, and I'm like, "Okay, well, we're going too. You can sit up front wherever." Now we'll go with my youngest, and I just felt better. They had their privacy. They were able to hang out, and so it was like, it was a fatherly thing, man. I mean, of course, we always want to protect our kids or family, but it's just. It's something I just felt I had to do. But I mean, I would take them to the mall, bro, and they'd be little kids, their age, walking around, and they're like, "Dad, their parents just let them come here," and I said, "I guess so, man." Cause they'd be walking around like nothing, and I'm like,
that blows my mind, dude. Because I'm the same way too. Like with like I said, my oldest daughter. Normally, it's if she goes with her boyfriend, they're with his parents, or if he wants to come hang out, like they're usually there with us because now we got a big place and he can hang out. We got room. Like you can come over whenever you want, buddy. Like as long as you're helping do shit.
Yeah, that's it. By the way, I need to.
I mean, when we were moving, I was like, "Hey, Josh, start getting boxes," and he's like, "Okay." I'm like, he's a nice kid. He's a good kid. I like him.
Oh yeah, dude. Actually, my George used to have a kid like that, a friend, man. And he was a cool dude, man.
Yeah.
Respectful. So I was just. Like,
he's real respectful. He plays real good with my younger ones too. Like my 8-year-old and the little baby loves him. But he comes over. I'm like, "Hey, Josh, go over with the baby." I'm like, "Hey, go pick up the baby." Like he's crying.
Check his pamper, man.
Yeah,
Pick a bottle.
Because he has younger siblings too, and he actually watches them. And just I'm like, he's a responsible kid. But man, it's weird. Like I talk about that with my mom. There's this meme that I saw, and it says, "Man, all y'all got these cell phones, and we can call you and text you at any time." And back in the day, our parents used to let us out, and if you weren't home by the time the lights turned on, you were left out there to survive the way God intended.
Dude, I know. Back in the day, like the craziest thing. I mean, we did a lot of stupid stuff, man. But one of them was right there on the west side, bro. Right there on Commerce and John McMullen.
Yeah.
We used to live on that side of town, right behind Lady the Lake University.
Yeah.
And we rode our bikes all the way to Olmos Park, bro.
God.
And we went through downtown, and we were just like following some kid, like our friend, and you go this way, and you go. And we end up in Olmos Park, and we're like, oh man, we're finally here after like half the day. We get there, and now we're like, crap, we gotta get home.
Yeah.
And I remember like. We had gotten to downtown, and I told my brother, I said, "Man, we gotta hurry up because the sun was starting to get dark, man." So we're like going down Commerce, hauling ass, and we get home. We cut through to the neighborhood. We go back there, and my mom's like, "Where were you on?" I was like, "Oh, we're at my friend's house." She's like, "We were coming from downtown. We saw you leaving downtown," and I was like, "Dude, like, yeah, bro, like."
That's wild.
I was a faster brother, so my brother got the worst of it. Man, but I was like, freaking took off running, man. But I was just like, damn, like that was one of those. we still did that, man. We still, but it was.
Yeah,
it was
I know.
one of
I
those-
tell me and my buddies talk because I have one of my best friends. I've known him since like we were in Pampers, like, and like he knows all my kids. He loves them and everything. He's like, dog, like we can't talk about what me and you were doing at 14, 15 years old in front of her because she's gonna be like, what? Because I'm like,
bro. Well, mom said, I said,
like that. We're not having that conversation.
yeah, no kidding, man. Because my kids, they used to bring that up. Well, mom said that when you were, and I said, you know what? It's the reason why I'm not with your mom. Don't listen to that.
I'm lucky. Me and my wife pretty much grew up together. Like we started dating when we were 16, so fucking. So we know it's like, hey, don't fucking talk about that in front of them because we don't want them to know we were doing that crazy shit.
No, for sure, man. You see, and that's one of the things because. Even back then, like I remember there was a few instances for ourselves, man, when we're hanging out and we used to see a suspicious car and they'd be like, hey, y'all wanna go get this, and we're like, nah, dog, like, we were kind of like we're kids, man, and we're like, nah, we can't, and so it's scary, man. But I mean, now with social media, I mean, people have fake profiles. You don't know who kids are talking to, man, and it's scary in that sense because now it's like even harder. There's freaking pedophiles and freaking sickos on there just trying to see what they can hook and bring in, right?
Yeah. My daughter, she can't. The only thing I let her have is Instagram and TikTok. Everything else is blocked. I have an app on my phone. Like if I want to, I can shut it down right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like I know what she's doing. I know how long she's on there. I know what app she's on. There's apps. I have to approve whatever she wants to download.
Oh, nice, man.
So, dude, I got it a lot, bro.
I see, but that's good though, man.
Yeah.
Because
and she's a good kid. Sometimes I'm like, man, you're on fucking YouTube for 2-3 hours today. What the hell are you doing?
You better get a degree or something.
Yeah, I was like, tell me something new today.
Yeah, no kidding, man. You see it, but that's one of the things we were talking about earlier, man. I mean, technology is so. It's out there. It's free. There's so much stuff that you can learn just to get on YouTube and just how to disassemble a phone, how to. Work on your, the light. I mean, anything, man. You can pretty much Google whatever, and it'll show you, man. But I mean, when it comes to education, I mean, of course, I mean, like you yourself, man. You got your personal training through On It, right? You see one out there, and so of course, you go to these courses. Do you prefer online courses, or are you more of a hands-on?
I don't mind online courses because. Part of the program too for On It, you can do continuing education. You don't have to, but you can do it. And they have pretty much all online because they're based in Austin.
Right.
But I do like being there. I'd rather do it. Like if you tell me how to do it, I could probably figure it out, but it'll take me longer. So for me, I'm like, show me how to do it. Like because they're really good. But they'll physically come grab you. Like, no, do this.
Yeah. You see that? That's what I need, bro. Like I'd be like. I'm a hands-on. Like I can't just. You can show me a map and be like, "Hey, you're gonna go this or this way." But
that's the way I coach too. Like the students are like, "Well, I don't know how to do this." I go, "I'm gonna physically grab you and walk you through the movement. Here's the mechanic, and here's because they'll be like, "Can I record you doing this?" I'm like, "Yeah." I go, "But we're gonna work on it during class, so I can physically show you." And then like some of my students, they go, "Hey, can you run that combo real quick on the bag so I can watch it later?" And I'm like, yeah, sure, I don't care. Like there's no secret techniques out there. We have YouTube.
I know, right? Yeah, everything I know is on there, man. But. Still kind of class. You see, but I mean, okay, that's another example because you see a lot of these online schools, and you can go and you can get your blue belt, and of course, I think at the end of the programs, you go and you have to be there and you get ranked. But for those that are on there and they're thinking, oh man, well, I'm taking online courses. I know there's a big difference between learning online and actually having somebody there because I wouldn't be able to do that. I mean, if people can pick up moves, some moves, I get it, but. It's just I don't see how.
Developing a whole skill set and an effective skill set. Like you can learn some kind of gloss over, gross motor skill online.
Right.
When it comes to like combat, especially, there's so many nuanced things that there's nothing like having a coach in front of you and telling you, no, adjust this, no, move here, because they could film a technique and do it from a million different angles. It's still not the same as having them physically move you until you know this is the way it's supposed to feel, whether you're being attacked or you're attacked. Like I said, just something as simple as an armbar. You could show it from a bunch of different angles. They could tell you do this, do this, do this. Yeah. But it's different when you have a coach. You could be doing the overall movement correctly, but you're not. Like, how come I'm not landing it? Pinch your knees, bro. Pinch your knees.
Yeah, little techniques.
Break their head down. You know what I mean? Little things like that. A punch. You could see a punch on a bag. It's like, well, no, they're like, okay, you got it, but turn your fist over, palm down. I've seen guys come in, they're like, yeah, man, I watch a lot of tape, and I'm like, okay, cool, like, show me what you got in the bag. They're doing it, they're cocking out their elbow for a jab. They're like, and I'm like, dude, straight from your face, man. I'm like, no, right here. Turn your palm down, hit with these two knuckles, You know, there's nothing like having someone to emphasize. You know, the devil's in the details, man.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like having a coach there in front of you, physically doing it. You know, I have a new prospect that came in just yesterday, and he's got some boxing experience, and you know, he's had some decent trainers and stuff. And I'm watching him like, man, there's bad habits we got to break. You know, you're letting this hand hang too low until you get a better skill set. We get you more stuff, then you can start playing around with your own flavor. Let's get a baseline. It's like building a house. Let's get your foundation. Yeah. You don't have that. You could put all the scaffolding you want. That foundation's not solid, that thing's coming down.
Yeah. No, that's true, man. You see, somebody that used to work on scaffolds, I can relate, man. That shit.
I've seen it. I've never worked that business, but my uncle had, and I've seen that shit. I'm like, God.
Yeah, bro. We used to, right out of high school, man, I worked with my brother-in-law in bricklaying. And we used to work, he was one of the first ones that got contracts to work at the Dominion back in the day. Nice. And so we were out there, man. But yeah, I remember he used to have us set up scaffolds, and we get up there, I think we'd be wobbly, bro. And he's like, hey, yo. Freaking, you know,
dude, but that's one thing I can't do is heights. Like I can get a roller coaster and shit, but I won't lie, dude. The anxiety that I get on, like I'd rather get kicked in the face right now. Like someone punched me, I go, this is terrible. Hand down, kick. Dude, at my old office building at Chase, because there's breezeways between, there's 3 different buildings and there's breezeways and it's all glass forest. And I would look over the edge and I'd get dizzy. I'm like, oh god, because just like 3 floors up, not even that high. Yeah.
You see, and I'm like that now. I mean, before I could care less, man. I was a kid, like backyard. We used to have this big old pecan tree, man. I still drive by that house and the pecan tree's still there, man. But I used to climb all the way to the top, and I'd be like, oh man, I'd be swinging like nothing. I'm like, you know what, no problem, man. And now it's just like, yeah, you know.
I think too, as you get older, you finally realize the risk of injury.
Yeah,
it's just like, oh shit, man, that guy could really hurt myself.
I won't make it. Yeah, you know, but that's true, man. And just recently, bro, I've been staying active. I've been going out and running and doing road work, man, which is another thing I wanted to ask you about in a little bit. But yeah, I was doing sprints, man. I was doing this uphill, and I've been doing it. I've been warming. I was warmed up, and I'm running up this thing on my last lap, dude, and I just heard, dude, like I just dropped. I was like, grab, like I dropped out of fear because I thought it was my knee.
Yeah.
And I rolled over and I look, and it's my calf, and I'm like, okay, like crap, dude. I'm like, you know, so it sucked. It was scary, and I was thinking like crap. And for me, honestly, man, all I could think about was like, shit, I gotta work tomorrow, man. So I was like, you know what? Like I gotta figure out how. So I limped to my truck, and I go home, and I mean, it's doing better now. I can still, it tweaks a little bit, and it's still a little tender. But I was just like, you know what? I went speed walking yesterday, and I did pretty good, man. But I was just like, you know what, man? Like it's just, yeah, I can't do stuff like that. You know, I gotta baby it up a little bit, and just. You know, do minimal. I mean, what I'm trying to do, and I'm gonna ask you about this even later, bro. It's just like you said. I've been trying. My road work is like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I go do you know, bear crawls. I do you know, squats, lunges. The whole time I'm moving, like it's just cardio, keeping my breathing, and my posture.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I noticed, and even before, like I used to run a lot, man. I don't know what happened that I got bit by this running bug years back, but I'd run. And the whole time my posture's up, I'm upright. Hands are good, everything's good, and I would see people running and dying, bro. Like they'd be slouching, and I'm thinking, like, bro, at that point you gotta stop, dude. Like you're not doing yourself any favors. But let me ask you about that, man. I mean, obviously, when somebody's working out, I mean, you don't want them to go in with a bad mindset, right? Because I mean, you can get hurt for one thing. I mean, when somebody's at that level and they're like, you know what, it's okay to rest.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we need a rest day. I don't think that's something I understood when I first started.
Yeah.
But
especially when you're younger, you're just
no off button. Superman mentality, and I'll fall down, I'll keep going. You know, and but it's just, I mean, recovery is a big part of even for fighters, man.
That's a big one.
You see,
and that's a big thing that I do. Even the young guys, I go, you might be able to bounce back. Cool. I go, but in the long run, it is going to hurt you. Like, and I tell them, I go, rest is just as important, if not more, than when you're actually working out. Because people have this misconception that you build muscle and all that stuff when you work out. I go, you're not doing that. You're tearing muscle when you work out. Yeah. So what you're doing is creating the right amount of stress to get you to build. But if you don't get the rest, because that's when you build. You build when you rest and when you eat.
Yeah.
So if you're not eating right and if you're not getting enough rest, your body's not going to recover, and you're just going to keep hitting it. And
what's happening, you just end up breaking down. Bro. Yeah. That's what I used to do. And yeah, it's just like when, like off season for bodybuilders, they let go and they just swell up because the muscle's just recovering, and you know. But yeah, that's one of the things I learned the hard way, and it's just my mentality back then was just like, man, I don't want to stop moving. You know, I do cardio, I go running. I was like an Iron Man. I was freaking doing everything, but yeah, I mean, rest. I mean, what would you recommend to me? Of course, it depends for different people. I mean, they're younger, but I mean, what would you consider a good rest schedule for somebody?
So like it's depending on where you're at. Like, and I'll even use myself as an example because like I'm 37, so I can't like I tried to do one of my weightlifting routines a couple months ago that I used to do in my 20s because I just have this huge notebook of torture.
Yeah.
I write down everything, and I flew through it. I did it. It sucked, and I got through it, but I was wrecked for the entire week. So
Damn.
like, one, I gotta baby step my way back into this.
Yeah.
Two, probably gotta set. I can't go back to back unless I'm going kind of mid-range.
Right.
Intensity workout. I gotta be careful. And I gotta pick a day to go real hard, and the other days just maintain.
Yeah.
So I would say, work out a day, rest a day, work out a day, rest a day, until you build up so you can work out back-to-back days. Then you know what? Give yourself 1 or 2 days. One day active rest, and then the second day full-on rest. You're not doing shit. Just because, especially for guys too, you overwork, your testosterone level actually dips.
Yeah.
And that's happened to me before because I was on TRT a while back. I think we talked about that last time.
Yeah.
Part of the reason too, aside from the concussions, is I was still going 100 miles an hour, and they're like, the doc was like, "How'd you do this?" And he goes, "How'd you make it through?" I go, "Well, I knew I felt like shit, but mentally I just kind of pushed myself to keep going. Like mentally I could put myself in hell and just stay there, but physically I felt like garbage, like it sucked." And he goes, "That's part of the reason your T's low too." He's like, "You need to fucking take a rest. Like that's just the bottom line. You need to rest. Be getting enough sleep. Take a day off. That's not gonna kill you. Make sure and that's why I recommend like an active rest day. Go for a walk, something light.
Right.
Go play at the park or something. Go play some basketball. Something that's not gonna kill you."
No, yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, because I mean, just like what you said now, it does make sense, dude. Because, like, during that time when I was, doing BJJ or grappling and MMA, like, dude, like I used to go swimming like pretty much every day. I go running. Yeah, I live by medical, so I used to go and sprint and just run, dude, and I would do it enough to where I just, I couldn't go anymore, and then I keep going. My mindset was just like you said. I was just like, you know what? I put myself in a bad situation, and I'm just like, what if somebody comes running and they want to fight?
Yeah.
And am I ready? You know what I mean? And
are you gonna be able to explode?
Yeah, exactly, man. So I would put myself in those mindsets to where I'm just like, you know what? If I'm that tired and somebody's like, hey, they're trying to attack me, I have enough to be able to like at least defend myself. But when it comes to rest, I never did that, man. I mean, I was always moving, working, doing something, and it's just. Yeah.
That taught me a hard lesson, man. And like since that happened when the doc told me that, and I was about 32, I think, when that happened. 33. I want to say 33. When I got on the TRT, like I started to really protect my rest and my sleep. Like, I'll use like my streaming as an example. If I'm gonna be up till like 3, 4 in the morning just playing fucking video games, I know the next day I'm gonna be tired, so I can't sleep 3 or 4 hours, get up with everybody. So I told my wife, I go, "Hey, I'm not getting up early. Like I gotta sleep." She's like, "All right, whatever." But yeah, you really gotta protect your rest, and sleep's a big one. Like sleep is a big one. That's when your hormones spike. That's when your muscles actually build, and whatever you ate that day, that's when it starts to metabolize and get put into there to build you back up. So like you might be eating right, but if you're getting 3 hours of sleep a night, it doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, no kidding, man. That's
that whole kind of mentality. Rest is for the weak. I get it to a certain extent, but running yourself into the ground doesn't help.
No, I mean, exactly, bro. And like you said, I mean, if you're young, I mean, we're both there. I mean, you're still younger than me, but yeah, when we were in our 20s, it was more of a, like, we had that mentality, like that Superman mentality. I kept using that, but it's just like when you get older, you're like, man, I got you.
I mean, because you think about it, you're peaking, from like 25 to 35, you're peaking, and you're bulletproof. Like you get an injury, and week rest, you're good. Just don't overextend it. Now, and I started feeling it like at 33, 34. I was like, I get injured, that thing lingers. It does not go away.
Yeah. You see, and I started, honestly, man, when I turned 40, I started feeling it, and I was just like, damn. And I noticed everything kind of changed because I was just like, okay, now I had no motivation. I had my adrenaline fucking was zilch. I mean, everything. And it's just like, and it's taking me this long just to actually, even now, just like, okay, you know what, I got to do it, man. Like, I want to actually get back into it. I want to actually, Amy, she's actually on one of those Facebook pages or groups, man. But she had put on there like, you want to live long enough to outlive your enemies.
Yeah,
and that's my goal right now. I say, you know what, man, I wanna try to live as much as I can. I mean, I
let
got
those
kids
motherfuckers
too.
go on life support. I'm still
kicking.
There
you go. I'll be the one unplugging it.
Yeah, dude. And a lot of it too, especially with guys, it's ego. Because I had to get on TRT in my early 30s because even the doc, he's like, man, your numbers shouldn't be this low. He's like, you're young, you work out. Then of course he starts digging deeper. He's like, oh, you've had plenty of concussions. You work out a lot.
Yeah.
Because you know a lot of, and I've told a few of my friends too, because they're like, man, like, you know, because I swelled up, dude. I was big. I was pushing 200 pounds, and on my frame, that's big. And like, and it wasn't puff. I was like jacked, bro. And some of my buddies are like, well, I go, I got on testosterone, man. They go, what? And they go, and I go, look, I go, most guys don't want to hear it in their early 30s. Your testosterone might be low.
Yeah.
And I did a little research, man, and over the years, the past few decades, the numbers for guys have been steadily going down, and I think a lot of it has to do with diet and all this other, you know, conspiracy theory shit. But
but that's for another episode, man.
Yeah, it's another one. But it's a lot of it's too is, you know, the lifestyle that people are living now. And most people work in an office, so they're spending 8-9 hours, 10 hours a day in an office. They're not active. You know, I think that kind of lifestyle and those kind of jobs, you know, they're killing you. Like, I read some study, like sitting in an office for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week is just as bad as smoking, if not worse, a pack of cigarettes a day. That's what's killing, like, giving people cardiovascular disease, because they're sitting down. They're sitting.
I can see it, man. But yeah, it's true, because if you're just sitting there punching buttons, I mean, you're not.
It even affects your eyes. You know that, right? Like, just sit, because, and like, it's not the sitting too close. It's not moving. So like, I forgot. If I can find the link, I'll send it to you. But there is this research thing I did. It says people's eyesight is gradually getting worse as a population, because we're looking at screens and we're not moving. So it's right there in front of you, and it's not that it's close. But it's because we were designed to forage, right, to look for things and hunt. So depth perception, all that's getting worked. But if we're not getting worked and we're just staring at a screen all day for work, your eyes don't get that work, so it don't have to adjust. So then your eyes just start to degrade. So it's not even that it's, you know, VR is not going to kill you, you know, that big mask that you put on, but it's because you're not searching for things. It's just right here.
Damn, I never thought about that, but that's true though, man.
Because you know, we haven't changed much since like hunter forager. The biggest change is our brains, but physically, like it was a paper on evolution, and they go, the biggest thing that's changed is our brains, not our physiology. So we still have all those physical needs that they needed when they were hunter gatherers. So you still have to be looking for stuff. Yeah. And if you're not, then your eyes will start to degrade. That's just the simple fact of it.
You see, and for me, like, I mean, because I'm out there driving, so I gotta look at
you're moving,
and my eyesight's still good, man. I'm not gonna say it's great, but
mine's bad. I'm not gonna lie, and that's a family thing. My mom's eyes are bad. My dad's eyes were great until recent years. Damn. But me, my wife, both have to wear contacts and glasses, and my kids, my 2 daughters, both wear glasses, and my son, I'm like, sorry, Mule.
Like, right here, put mine on.
Yeah, you're gonna need these eventually.
Man, you see, and that's one of the things with my mom. She had cataracts like years back. Man, she actually had eye surgery on her bad eye, and she ended up losing her eyesight. It went bad, bro. Man, that sucks. And so that was something, you know, we weren't expecting. And now she her bad eye, I mean, she can still see out of it some, but it's just it sucks, man. And I mean, for her, like, even now, like this morning, you know, before the provider gets her, man, we get a provider who stays with her, you know, 5 hours a day, but before I leave, I wake her up and I'm like, Mom, you need to use the bathroom, you need to, you know, get her something to eat. But the first thing she says is like, oh, put the light on. And I'm like, the lights are on. You know, like, I'm just like, man, like,
it breaks your heart, man.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Man, because it's just, you see, and for me, it sucks it. And I hate seeing her like that, because I'm like, damn, you know what? Like, that was like the person I grew up, you know, watching, you know, growing up. She's always been the strongest one in the family, man. So now it's just like, okay, well, you know what? So my job now is just to make her as comfortable as possible. Like, I'm like, you know, if you need something, just call me. You know, if I can't hear you, you know, knock on the door or on the wall. Yeah. And that's a big thing, because my dogs, bro, I'll be like, they start going crazy. So as soon as they start going crazy, I'm like, okay, it's probably my mom. So I'll go check on her. And
I feel you, man. Right before my grandpa passed, it was tough seeing him like that, because he lived a long life. He was in his 90s when he died. I think he was 94, 95. He was a Navy pilot, tough son of a bitch. Yeah. And then, you know, to see him finally start to look old when he got into like his 70s, and then like into his 90s, you see him kind of breaking down, and I was like, holy shit, man, like having to do everything for him. My wife, right before he passed, she would go over there and like literally, because she wasn't working at the time, so during the day, well, because my aunt lived with him and took care of him, she would go over there and take care of him. Yeah. So like until my aunt got home from work, she'd be like, all right, she'd come back home. And so she was like, man, like, she goes, it's crazy seeing him like that. I'm like, yeah, no, it's wild. No, yeah, I feel you, man. It's heartbreaking, but you know, we all get there someday. No, some of us sooner than others, but
yeah, bro. You see, and that's one of the things, because I've always had this weird sense of humor with my mom, where people, I mean, I talk to her and I'm real blunt with her, and she's the same way, man. And it's just, it's like a dark humor.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, you know, we still do that, but now I'm kind of, I'll say something and I'm like, crap, like, you know, it's just like, but she laughs, you know, and it's just like, I mean, I keep her laughing, man, and I have to, you know, like for me, it's just like the day she decides to go, that's it, and that's it, you know. So I'm just trying to keep her as comfortable and as, you know, as alive as possible, man.
Yeah,
like, I'll take her outside.
That's the best you can do, you know, at this point, you know.
Yeah, because I'll be like, hey, you know, I'll say something, and I'm like, well, you can't see her, what? And she's like, no, I can't see. And I'm like, oh, okay, Mom, you know. And she'll laugh, you know, but I'm just like, man, I gotta stop saying that. You know, but it's just, you know, and it sucks.
It's a way to keep things light, man. I mean,
yeah, because I mean, honestly, it is, bro. Because it's like, I don't want to. I mean, we're going there. We're eventually, you know, not all of us. I mean, some of us, you know, I know people, customers that I have that are like 97 and they're still driving and they're still, and I'm like, wow, okay, cool, man. So, but it's just, you know, to lighten up the mood, man, because it's just, you know, it's depressing, and I'm sure she's as depressed, but it's just, you know.
Yeah, I mean, dude, and one thing that kind of kept me light and it's helped me deal with a lot of death is who was it? I think it was, I can't remember if it's a Jim Morrison quote. I know it was the name of his book, but one of the things that I read is don't take yourself too seriously because no one gets out of here alive.
Exactly, man.
No, yeah. So that's, you know, we dark joke with my parents too. They're in their early 60s, so they still got a ways to go. But my mom's like, you better not put me in a home. I go, you buy that house in King William like you want, I'll move back in and take care of you.
You're like, let's go.
Yeah.
No, yeah, man. You see, and then that's one of the things too, man. Like my mom, I mean, she's lived a life, bro. Like she used to travel. You know, growing up, we would always like, oh, you know, Mom's on tour, because she would always go from Mexico to Florida. She was always visiting family, man. And so, like, we never knew where she was. You know, this before cell phones, so we'd be calling like, hey, Mom, oh no, she left to. There we are looking for her. You know, we have family in Minnesota.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, so she was always like, you know, after my stepdad passed away, like, I mean, she was just like living life. So we're
that's crazy. That's awesome.
Like, yeah, man. You see,
that's awesome.
She was actually in Mexico before she came back. She was here like 2 weeks, and when she had a stroke. So we're like, wow, dude. Like we're like, okay, well, it could have happened over there, and then what? You know, it would have been crazy.
Yeah.
But, when she had a stroke, I mean, it was like she went through her depression. You know, same thing, man. I go visit, you know, see her. I was working in the city, but I was working overnight at the post office. So it's like I would go out there, you know, take her breakfast or just talk to her, and it's just like. And that's when it started happening. But I mean, but the thing with her, man, I mean, she didn't stop. She didn't quit, bro. She'd be in a walker and she'd be moving sofas, bro. Like, and I'm like, what are you doing? And I would get there and she's like, oh, I'm rearranging the house. And I'm like, are you serious? Like,
yeah.
But I was
wait till I get here, I'll do it. Just
yeah, no, yeah, man. No, I'm actually glad she did it. I didn't want to do it, bro.
I know, for real, right?
Outside waiting and like, all right, she did
it. No, I know, man. I get that call from my mom. She's like, hey, come help your dad move some shit. And I'm like, God. All right, Mom, I'll be there. Come help him tear out these bushes from the front yard. It's funny, like my dad, he's in his 60s. My dad likes to do everything himself, but my mom will call me and my brothers and, hey, there's big bushes. We're gonna take them out. You need to come help your dad take them out. I get there, he's already got half of it done. I go, what'd you even call us here for? He did half this shit himself. Like, I go, you could have left us alone. It's hot out here.
Yeah, I told him, you made me come out here for nothing. And she's like, oh, I got stuff to do. No.
Yeah. My dad's like, oh, I'm already halfway. I'm like, God. I was like, do y'all have food? I'm hungry.
So you know what? I'm gonna wash clothes. Where's that laundromat?
Yeah, for real.
Bro.
That's exactly what I do. I take a bags of clothes over. I'm like, Mom, I'm washing clothes. She's like, all right.
No, you see, and I used to joke about that too, man. Like I would go take clothes, or you know, and she'd be like, oh, you're gonna, and I said, Mom, it's the only time, you know, I get to spend time with you, man. I said, this is what it's about, you know. Yeah. Watch it low while I'm here anyway.
I know. Watch the kids for a few hours while I'm doing this.
Yeah. Keep yourself busy. But yeah, bro, man, I'm gonna cut this short, but I'm gonna use you on another platform if that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
But Steven Martinez, my man, bro, thank you once again for coming by. We're gonna jump on something else in a bit, but I'm gonna keep up with you, man. As far as I'm gonna talk about your streaming on the other one, dude.
Yeah, for sure, man. Absolutely.
But everybody out there, of course, once again, this is Spider Steven Martinez here at the Fight Card Podcast. Till next time.
Thanks, guys.
Follow up. And let me shut down.
I'm gonna try this.
Oh yeah,
we'll pop it open when we start the next one.
And I was gonna ask you to go ahead and open it up while we were out there. I'll probably start recording, dude. Hold on.